This is Don't Panic, episode number 323, recorded October 18th, 2021. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and of course, you. We couldn't do it without you. I'm Sean Jennings, and I am joined, as always, by... Who's that? Where's that coming from? You guys hear that music? Oh my god! That's John Cena's music! Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Cole the Rabbit and Dan Miller! You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise. Okay, if you're wondering what that was about, we just recorded F9 over on Up for Debate, the Final Fast Furious movie, which John Cena's in. So I thought it'd be fun with Matt. I loaded in the John Cena walkout wrestling music, and I introduced him as John Cena, and I just happened to have it in there, so I thought I'd play it for you too as well. I know you're big wrestling fans.
No, so
that was awesome. I knew that John Cena was a meme. I didn't know that he was a wrestler.
Really?
Yes,
or that he was in a Fast
on
and Furious
WWE
movie.
Yep.
I didn't know the second one of those things. Now, is that music is just the music that John Cena walks out to, or is that in fact John Cena in the music? Is he the music?
No, he doesn't perform. Every big wrestler has like their own theme song.
Right.
That's like their signature song, and his is one of the more famous ones. And I bet I could play 3 or 4 you've heard somewhere and didn't realize was a wrestler's theme.
Interesting.
You'd be surprised.
And do they get their, is their theme just something? Also, I just realized your name in the chat is Vin Diesel, Sean. That's weird.
I'm in a Fast and Furious movie. I realize you can put any name you want. So.
Have you and Matt watched too much Fast and Furious? You've become Are you the Fast and Furious now?
Are you playing a Fast and Furious D&D campaign?
Now that would be fun. No, we had a huge run. I'll have to see if I can pull them up quick. But Matt started it, and I give him credit, but we were doing pun names in Riverside based on the different movies. So he was like Aston Mirren for Helen Mirren, and Carvin and Hobbs. Charlize Theron was probably my favorite for Charlize Theron. But we were going back and forth on that every episode, so I figured I would just be Vin Diesel tonight.
Nice.
So, high energy. Because we're back.
We're back.
Baby.
We're back.
Took a break.
Woo!
We watched people run a marathon. It was exhausting.
That's true. Yeah. I can't believe they did that. It's wild. Such a bad idea.
Well, my cousin did say, Colby, we watched my cousin run the marathon, and she, I guess you weren't there for that part. Oh, you kind of were, but she didn't, she finished the marathon, and then she didn't sit down. She was just, hanging out and talking to friends and saying hi to people.
You told us
this.
This
is incredible. But the next day, she could not walk downstairs, so she was human.
Yeah. I get that, because that happens to me after I run, 1 or 2 miles. Typically, I can't walk downstairs the next day. So, I know the feeling.
She had to walk down them backwards. I don't know if you've ever tried that.
Oh my god.
No, but I could see how that works.
Speaking of walking, I do have to ask, did you guys happen to see my Instagram over the weekend?
Your box post?
No,
yeah.
I didn't. I saw the cat.
Oh no, buddy! I gotta.
You missed the one.
Let me see if I can share my screen here, because it's pretty great. I'm just advertising my raw stupidity. Here we go.
Dog.
Let's watch.
Sorry, it was a dog.
Here we go. You see that? This is me trying to crush a cardboard box.
Oh my god.
That's why I can't get the video version. So basically, that was a large air conditioner box that, like a total moron, I am hobbling away, that I was a total moron and thought I could just crush by jumping on. And what I didn't realize is, no, it'll just flop out from under me and I'll just completely fall and bust my ass. which I did, and I happened to catch it on my security
Good
cameras.
falling technique.
You know what? It could have been worse. I did tweak my knee a little bit. My knee is still a little messed up, and I got a couple scrapes. Otherwise, I was fine.
Yeah,
but
you rolled into it.
It could have gone far worse, but it did definitely hurt in the moment. So I had a lot of people at work today be like, "Dude, Sean, are you all right?" I'm like, "How many of you follow me?" Stalking me.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad you survived, Sean.
Yeah, man, safety first. I literally, I swear to God,
You did not check the scene for safety on that one.
I definitely did not. You know, I said this to somebody today. I put my first foot on the box, and I literally said out loud to myself, "This isn't going to end well." And I'm like, what a great, like, warning sign of, like, don't do this. If what you say to yourself is, there's no way this is going to work.
Right.
You're just asking for it.
Yeah. I feel like that happened. Things like that have happened to me a lot lately where I'm like, I got to move that thing. And then 15 minutes later, I like trip over it or whatever. Those aren't on camera though, because I don't have security cameras.
And of course, that's the first thing I check after I bust it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if the camera caught that.
I admire your, I don't know how to describe this. Willingness to admit mistakes. What would you call this personality trait here?
I think it's just part of my long desired dream to be featured in one of those fail video compilations. Mm-hmm. So I've got to get around to submitting it. Because wouldn't it be amazing if you were just watching one of those and just people busting their ass and then just you were in there?
You could be on Tosh.0 or something.
I don't know if
I want to be on Ridiculousness. I want Rob Dyrdek to insult me.
See, I wouldn't have that reaction. I would be like, how embarrassing.
I have no shame.
Maybe that's what it is. I admire your shamelessness. I think we could all be a bit more shameless.
It's all about laughing at yourself, man.
There we go.
Laughing at yourself. Now, if I had been seriously injured, if I'd been seriously injured, I also would have probably put that online. So, because I think if I like broke my leg and blood were squirting out or something, I'm like, I'd probably still put that online.
Now, this is a little bit of a non sequitur, but it was recently pointed out to me that Joe Rogan of the Joe Rogan Experience is also the Fear Factor guy.
That is absolutely correct. Also, star of the sitcom News Radio as well.
There was this. I don't know that show, but it's so
Yep.
weird. I don't know why it was. It was just weird to me. It was a weird thing to know.
First of all, great non sequitur.
I mean, I think, you had a pretty extreme clip there, so I guess I was thinking about...
That was my Fear Factor stunt.
Right. Jump on this box without falling over.
He was such a weird host of that show, and he wasn't bad. I'm not going to say he was bad, but he was always like, do not try the stunts you are about to see at home. He always he had such a weird cadence and rhythm, and then he would always because back when they shot this in the early 2000s, it was just the worst people on earth were on the show, just the douchiest, just worst people. And Joe would get really friendly with them. I guess that kind of portended his future, right? But he was like, bro, you think you're going to be able to handle hanging from that helicopter? Very funny show. I do enjoy Pluto TV has a whole channel of Fear Factor, and I do watch it once in a while. It's very fun.
I've never watched it.
It's worth watching once or twice, I would say. I don't think you have to sit and marathon it, but it is such an artifact of that era of reality show where they're like, we will make you literally do anything. There was a great show. I think it was called the $500,000 prize wheel. And it was like a prank show / contest show where they found a woman and they told this woman, we're going to give you $100,000 or whatever. But what you have to do to get it is we're going to tell your family and friends that you've been selected to go on a game show where you're going to spin the wheel to maybe win $500,000. And we're going to follow you with cameras for 2 weeks before it. And you have to act like the worst person on earth. Pretend you're spending all this money you don't have. And they gave her a list of horrible things to do to her friends and family. And then the whole plot was she was going to go spin the wheel on the game show and lose. Have pissed off her whole family, and then the reveal was no, it was all fake, and we actually are giving her money. And it was the dumbest thing on the planet, and I'm like, they put this on television. Very strange. I miss that era.
weird.
Yeah. We don't have weird reality shows anymore. Not that I've noticed, anyways. They're all kind of the same. They're all a race. They're all a race or a competition. Like baking, flower arranging.
Right. Did you watch The
I do have a new
Circle?
one, actually. Oh, I haven't seen... Have you watched The Circle?
I watched season 1 of The Circle. It was kind of good. Trashy. Super trashy, but like kind of good. I've heard there's a second season of The Circle, and like I've heard like people the first season of The Circle was like weirdly wholesome. Like everyone was like kind of nice to each other, and I've heard that the second season of The Circle is like more what you expected The Circle to be like when you started
is The
watching
Circle?
it. It's this show on Netflix where people are like, it's a reality show, and the people are competing for like each other's votes, like popularity votes, right? But they never meet each other. They're all locked in like separate apartments, and they communicate through this like social network where they like talk to the TV and post like basically like tweets. And have like private messages or whatever, but it's all through text that they dictate to their TV. It sounds bizarre, but it's, I don't know. It's terrible, but kind of funny. I don't regret watching it.
All right.
But it is a competition.
Oh, I guess all reality shows are competitions.
Right.
I meant like, you know, like in the Bake Off Iron Chef tradition of a competition.
Right.
We don't even have Jersey Shores anymore, do we?
Yeah.
They have spin-offs, I think, that are still
No,
around.
I just mean in that style where it's like there was never a game aspect to Jersey Shore, was there?
No.
Right.
No, but there's still... I mean, there's like 90 Day Fiancé and...
Right.
That's like, right. I forgot about that one.
The last time I was at my sister's, we watched this reality show where like all the people, there were like 20 people in this, you know, the reality show house, and all of them had been like scientifically matched, like matchmaker match, like one other person in the house was like their perfect like matchmaker match. And the premise of the show was for the entire group to figure out everyone's perfect match. And if they did that by the end of the like 20 episodes or something, they won a bunch of money. And if they didn't do it, they didn't get any mony.
they all died. They were all killed by some gruesome children's game.
I haven't watched Squid Games yet.
That would have been more fun. Well, that's like my brother's big into Married at First Sight, which is similar, where a bunch of people apply to be on the show. They find professional matchmakers, find two they think are perfect, and the premise is on camera, you walk out, meet the other person, and have to marry them on the spot without knowing anything about them. And then the whole show is what happens afterwards, and so they follow you for months. But you are legally marrying the person without having ever met them.
Wow. Do you get any guarantees like, well, at least they have like, you know, a decent credit score?
They're not a convicted criminal. I have no idea what kind of background checks you get. But I can't imagine whatever per episode fee you're getting paid is worth the hassle.
That sounds pretty funny.
Is there we're on a good run here. Is there a reality show you guys would go on? Or one you think you would do well on? Like a competition show? Like either you do well on or just you'd think would be fun to go on? Like I've been rewatching Nailed It on Netflix, which I don't know if you've seen Nailed It, the show where like the amateur bakers have to make the really hard things and they always screw it up. And it looks fun. Like I would go on that and mess up the baking. Like, I don't know. I don't even have to win. I would do it just for fun.
Now, sorry, this is an aside, but do you win if you do the worst job, or do you win if you do the best?
No, you have to
job?
do the best job, but nobody does a good job. It's like the best of the worst.
Gotcha. Amazing. That sounds fun. I don't know.
I don't think there's a single one I'd be good at.
No.
An existing one, I could make up a reality TV show that I might be good at, but
Okay, do that. What reality show would fit Dan's skills really well?
I think a reality show that I might be able to do well at is like Great British Bake Off, except instead of baking cakes or whatever, you're playing video games, and each week you have to play a different kind of video game. And it's all about who's the best at any individual one, but who can like pick up these new ones and learn them in like 5 hours and do well at them.
Cool. I would watch that.
It actually sounds like a kind of fun show. And you bring in the real pros and you give everyone like a 1 hour lesson and then you see what happens.
Right. I was thinking for you, Dan, something more like, in the real world genre, real world Jersey Shore genre of shows where you're living in a house with people, but the connecting, like the connection between the people in the house is that you're all playing in Super Smash Bros. Tournaments.
I thought you were going to say that each person controlled another person's Internet of Things devices, and you had to use that to communicate.
That's perfect. And one of the Internet Things devices is the zapper that they did on Do My Morse code via electrocution.
I like that. Well, there was a Big Brother did a twist one year where they had someone living in the house who had an identical twin. And what they would do is every couple days, they would swap the people without telling the rest of the house. And they had to figure out eventually that they were constantly switching the whole time. And I'm like, maybe, Dan, you could do something like, do you have an identical twin?
Not that I know of.
Oh, dang, never mind. I don't know. What about there's a competition show for everything. Can you do body painting?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Hairstyling?
Nope.
Tattoos?
No.
Now, a nailed it type show where amateurs have to do tattoos would be very fun.
That's a good idea. I feel like that could be a sort of like mashup where the people getting the tattoos are competing to not get the tattoos. Like there are two parts of the competition. Like one is the people competing for immunity where they don't have to get a tattoo that episode. And the second half of the episode is all the amateur tattoo artists giving them the people who lost tattoos.
Well, I always was, because there was that show Ink Masters that ran for years and years and years where it was a tattoo competition show. And each week they'd have a tattoo challenge and everyone would have to, and they tattooed them on real people like every week. And I'm like, where did they find all these people willing to get paid to get a tattoo not knowing what it is?
It's crazy.
That's impressive.
It is crazy. I don't know. Some people like tattoos.
I think I'm going to submit you two for The Amazing Race. I think that would be a hoot.
I've never actually watched The Amazing Race. Do you think that's a point for or against us?
I don't think it's going to hurt, but are you a good traveler? You two have had some issues traveling.
Yeah.
That's true, but you wouldn't want to bring someone on that show who's never had any issues traveling.
That's true. That's true.
And the other big thing, because I've watched a lot of Amazing Race, can either of you drive a stick?
Like
A
pretend to drive
manual
a stick?
transmission.
Oh.
Yes.
No. I could
that's the one
pretend to
thing-
drive a stick. Like, just hold a stick out in front of me and pretend it's a steering wheel.
Now, that kind of humor will get you on the show. But no, that's a requirement. If you can't do that, you're screwed because you're going to end up in a country where only those cars are available.
Right. Because that's a lot of places besides here.
Yes, indeed.
Darn. Well,
If
we'll have to
any
do
reality
some
show
work.
casting producers are out there looking for great contestants, look no further than Dan and Colby.
Yeah. It'd be wild.
Meanwhile, I'm going to go on The Biggest Loser. All right, anything else going on, guys?
No. Let's get into it. Let's get it.
Enough banter for these two. We've got to move on. Finally, thank you, Apple, for having a Monday event.
Yes.
It's rare, but it does happen. So this is hot. Ooh-wee, this is hot, fresh out of the oven. Apple's Unleashed event. And we've got some announcements. Let's start with the less bold stuff first. Guys, HomePod Mini in new colors. I mean, the biggest announcement of the day, question mark?
Wild.
Good. It's good to be in more colors.
How do we feel? I like the colors, actually. I think they're nice. I mean, I'm not going to buy one, but
I thought of
think
Colby
they're
when
nice.
I saw the orange color.
The orange one's nice.
That is a pretty Colby color. It matches my website. I don't know if I want that in my house, though. I don't have any orange stuff.
You don't
in
want
my
it to be a
house anymore.
statement piece?
Maybe.
You know what would be fun is you should get a bowl of fruit and put this in it,
That's a very good idea.
like with a bunch of other oranges, or get the yellow one and put it in with some lemons and limes or something.
Or like put it in a cornucopia, like one of those Thanksgiving things.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea. I can't believe they didn't do that for the marketing. It's the perfect time
The
of
rainbow
year.
of options. As I said, 5 colors, adding yellow, blue, and orange available for the same price in November. They also announced, and I got to be honest, this is probably the one thing in the announcement I still don't quite understand. Apple Music's new voice-only plan costs $4.99 a month.
Yeah,
So-
I was confused about this.
So, according to this release, you can only use your voice and Siri to access Apple Music content with this plan.
So like it only works on your HomePod?
No, it
doesn't
works
say
on
that.
any Apple device. It specifically says all Apple devices. The thing is, you can't. Voice plan subscribers will have access to hundreds of new stations and playlists with full playback controls, including unlimited song skipping. So you're kind of getting a Pandora, but for some reason, you can only use your voice.
So I guess what you can't do any of your own like curation.
Absolutely not.
All you can do is say like, "Hey, play me Say My Name by Destiny's Child," and it will play you Say My Name by Destiny's Child, and then
I
it will
don't even
proceed
know-
to play you like random shit.
But I don't even know if you can do that because it specifically says stations and playlists over and over. So I think you can just say, like, play me a yoga playlist or play me some classic rock. And I think it's just all, like, again, that Pandora station style music.
Right. You're asking for music, but they're deciding what you listen to.
Yes. Now, they say you will get customized experiences with suggestions based on your preferences and recently played music. So it is, some of the stations will be, play me something based off of this station or what I like, and it'll recommend stuff. But I just simply do not understand why they're going to make you use Siri.
So, Colby, do you have an Apple Music subscription?
I don't, though. I have considered in the recent past just getting the thing where you pay them like a lump sum of money and getting a bunch of
You
stuff.
felt for a lifetime plan? Here's $5,000.
No, the thing where it's like $30 a month or something, and you get everything. Because I do pay, like I pay for Apple TV, and like I don't know. Like, I don't listen to Spotify that much these days.
So what happens on your Lady in the Tube if you say, play Destiny's Child?
She will definitely play something, but, like, the only time that ever happens is on accident, so I've never tried to play it. I've never tried to have her, like, play me something for more than 30 seconds. The 30 seconds it takes me to be like, stop!
Okay. Maybe next week you can report back and tell us.
Yeah, I can try. I'll see what happens.
That reminds me, I haven't mentioned on the show my new favorite feature of iOS 15, which is the readout notifications over VoiceOver. Do you know what I'm talking about? It sounds
Yes.
stupid. I know it sounds stupid. I listen to a lot of podcasts and music, whether I'm in the car or I'm at work or whatever.
Oh, all
and now Siri will read any
notifications.
notifications. So
That's cool.
thank you. I aggressively curated it so I don't get anything stupid. I get work emails. But what I hate is you can't limited on a per app basis how much she reads. So what I get is a lot of from Outlook, external, forward, today's meeting. Hey, Sean, looking forward to today's meeting. Dan Miller, President. Fasten Master.
I do send emails like that.
And she just keeps reading and reading. So what happens is, because she listens while she's reading, is I yell, stop. And so, like, I'm driving in the car, just shouting stop at the car. I feel like a goddamn lunatic now, because I love the notifications, but, like, I got it. So I just go, stop!
Right.
Stop!
How do I turn this off? Because this was happening to me today. It was really pissing me off.
It's, I believe if you go under the notification settings, you'll see announce notifications. And you can turn it off on a per app
I swear to God, I've turned this off 4 or 5 times.
Well, when I first upgraded and it was on by default, they picked a bunch of apps that were on by, and it was a weird, because it was a lot of Instagram. From Instagram, at Colby Rabidou likes your post.
Right. Sean Jennings posted for the first time in a while.
Well, and I'm connected to my work's Instagram account, so I get a ton of notifications from Instagram, and I'm like, I did not need to know that. So, anyway, a small aside, but
right, that sounds cool. I do like the text message reading that she does when you have your headphones in.
Yeah, she's very good at reading. I will say that it does read. She reads nice.
Yes, she reads good.
I can't believe that you two like this feature. It is so annoying to me. Like, there's nothing, if you're actually listening to music, there's nothing worse than being interrupted. And if you're listening to a podcast, again, there's nothing worse than being interrupted. Especially, I didn't know you could tell it to stop, though. That might make a big difference, because I'm often, when I'm listening to podcasts these days, I'm often cooking, and so I can't touch anything.
Right.
But then I can select, then it reads out a really long thing, like this fucking newsletter email I just got or something.
Yeah, junk mail. Well, I'll say 2 things, which is one, I believe if you use, I don't know if anyone has played with those focus modes, but I believe you can set up a focus mode where she won't read them, that you can jump in and out of, so you don't have to turn it on and off. If you had like a quiet mode or something, I think you can set it so she won't read them. And the other thing I hate is that when in Overcast, when you're playing a podcast, it stops the podcast to play your notification. But when you're listening to music, it plays the music softly underneath it, but doesn't pause it. And I'm like, that should be a setting, because I don't like that. But I'm nitpicking.
Yeah. Right.
Speaking of headphones, Apple also announced 3rd generation AirPods. The good news is, if you're familiar with the AirPods Pro, it's kind of the same thing, just without the noise canceling and the rubber ear gasket. Priced at $179. They're available for pre-order right now, going on sale next week. Now water and sweat resistant. The battery life has been extended. They've got a new custom driver and a bunch of other stuff. The chargers are now MagSafe compatible, which is kind of interesting. It has spatial audio as well. And it's just a lot of similar stuff as seen in the Pro. Again, just without the noise cancellation feature. The older version, the 2nd gen AirPods, are still available for the price of $129.
Now, there were no updates to the AirPods Pro, right?
Correct.
Not true.
Oh, go on.
The AirPods Pro case was updated to support MagSafe.
Oh, okay. Cool. And that comes by default on new ones?
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
Yeah.
I saw some people online questioning why, and the simple answer is sometimes it's hard to line your stuff up on the charger.
Yes, and it's annoying. Like, I think before this change, people who had AirPods cases probably didn't realize you could charge them on the MagSafe charger, even though you totally can, because it doesn't lock.
Right.
Well, what happens to me is I have a dual charger where it's my phone and my AirPods next to my bed, and my cat decides to walk over my nightstand and he will bump them off. He did that with my phone the other day. He bumped it enough to take it off the charger, and so my phone didn't charge. So I was just like, yeah, might as well throw a magnet in there, make sure you're getting it on right and it's working. So pretty cool. Okay, enough of the boring bric-a-brac, guys. Should we get into the real stuff?
Bric-a-brac.
Let's do it.
Guys, I hope you're feeling
Ready.
hungry, because we got some chips. That's right, 2 new custom chips. Probably the hardest I've laughed in quite a while at one of these events is when Apple went and introduced the M1 Pro chip. On the Pro, it's 70% better CPU performance, twice the graphics performance, this compared to the M1. 10-core CPU, 16-core GPU, with more RAM, and about 33.7 billion transistors. They have a little chart. It's about twice as big as the M1. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, we just introduced our best processor ever. Until now, we have one that's even better. And I literally laughed out loud because I'm like, that's such an Apple thing to do. Like, we've changed the game with the best processor ever. And we have one that's even better. Introducing the Max, the M1 Max, which takes it to yet another level. Still the same 10 cores, but this one has double the memory bandwidth, up to 400 gigabytes a second, more RAM, up to 64 gigabytes of memory, and more GPU, up to 36 cores, 4 times the GPU performance of the original M1, for a total of 57 billion transistors, which is, according to the size, about the size of Wyoming. They had a bunch of these sort of generic performance charts that show that it's better than everything out on the market.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Was
many.
this was okay? Yeah, this was the order in which they presented it, right? They talked about the chips before they talked about what went in them.
That is absolutely
the
right.
Big news is, I think here they said, so the Pro only goes up to 32. Am I remembering that correctly? 32 gigabytes?
Yeah, 16-core GPU, 32 gigabytes.
And the Max goes up to 64 gigabytes.
With 32 cores of GPU.
But otherwise the same CPU.
That's right.
Except, and then the other differentiator is the memory bandwidth. Which
That's
is
right.
like,
You're talking 400 versus 200.
And I think this is how quickly you can move things in and out of memory, which is super important in this kind of unified design where the CPU and the RAM and the GPU are all in the same package.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The unified memory, I think, it's hard, I think, for them to put a number on it, but I think that's the technology they're going to really push as being the differentiator. Because you can keep adding more cores till you're blue in the face, but if you can't get the data between them, it's just not going to work. So that's really a big difference.
Yeah, and it's been proven with the M1 it being just as fast as a lot of these other things, despite having way less memory.
Yeah, that was one of the things they were sort of interestingly pushing, was that it's not that these are necessarily faster than the fastest chips out there. They're kind of as fast. They just do it in a much smaller package with a significant power savings. And so this is the first time you can take that massive desktop array and walk around in a laptop with it, which is pretty interesting. And I saw someone on Twitter made the comment, like, wait until they scale this thing up to be so big it needs desktop power. Think of how much data you're going to be able to put through it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I want an M1 Mac.
Well, let's talk about the computers.
Wait, I
shall
thought
we?
you had one. You don't have one?
No, I got the computer I'm on now. I broke down and finally bought a laptop in 2019 because my Mac Mini was just pooping out, as they do. But I don't know. I could probably trade it in. I looked at the trade-in website and it was less than I hoped it would be, but not nothing. So,
well, I think we're probably only a year away from M2, so if you can wait,
that's true.
I'm sure it'll be some percentage better.
Yeah. But then, like, you know, the computer I have now, the trading value will be smaller.
That's also true.
Presumably, the price of the new ones will be the same. I don't know, man.
Well, Colby, let's learn what's in these new MacBook Pros before you make your purchase decision.
Sorry.
We're looking at 14 and 16-inch models. Good news. Are we pro or con Touch Bar?
I don't think I'll miss it, if we're being honest.
I won't miss it. I think there's something to the idea, but it just didn't happen.
Nope.
And they didn't seem like they never changed it, right? So on the one hand, they were committed to it because they kept it around for so long, but on the other hand, they never gave it another go.
Well, it's funny. The biggest change they ever made to it was bringing back the physical escape key, right? They actually made it shorter.
Yeah, on both ends, because the Touch ID
ID
button on the right too. I'm looking at one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I always thought, seems to me like you could have the best of both worlds, and you could have physical buttons that are also screens.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
That would be super cool.
So I'm pro the idea, but the Touch Bar was never useful. It just took up space.
I only ever used it for the things function keys do. So it's like it never like muting and like.
I will say I prefer to adjust volume with the Touch Bar than with the little toggles.
Yeah, the slider's nice,
but that's not enough. But yeah.
I agree. It's gone. We now have full-size function keys. Keyboard looks really nice on this thing. One of the other big pieces of this is ports are back, guys. Throw those dongles away. Burn them in a pile.
I was shocked.
Shocked.
Not gonna lie. Despite all the rumors, I didn't think this was going to happen.
I'm excited. Certainly, we've got 3 Thunderbolt ports, an SD card slot, a headphone jack, probably my favorite, an HDMI port, and the return of the MagSafe charger. Same format. They didn't even really redesign it. It's kind of the same as it's always been. But they do say it will support fast charging on the 16-inch model as well.
Wait, does that mean it'll work with my old MagSafe chargers that I have in a box somewhere?
They didn't explicitly say that, but it's the same number of pins and the same shape.
It looks the same. Yeah.
It's plausible.
So that was the one thing I saw that I was like a little bit irritated about, because I swear it was like 9 months ago that I finally like got rid of my old MagSafe chargers. And
just long enough.
Right.
Oh, that's a good point. I might have gotten rid of some too.
I was sort of like looking forward to the world in which it's like, okay, well, finally, at least I'll be able to plug everything into my USB-C.
But good news on that, right? You still can charge it over USB-C?
Yes. Yes, because the MagSafe cable is actually MagSafe on one end, USB-C at the other. But also, yes, you can charge it over the USB-C ports. Great.
That was another thing. I was like, there's no way they're going to do that because that's definitely more complicated.
Does sound
they did.
Complicated.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So they said you can, on the Max chip, on the big one, you can plug in 3 8K monitors and a 4K TV with ports left over. Like they had some crazy amount of displays hooked up to this thing.
It's wild.
I mean, literally, if I bought this computer, I would not need a dock or a dongle. I mean, it's amazing what a few ports will do.
Now, as someone who doesn't go to an office, I didn't want. And what did we get? An SD card slot and HDMI?
Yep, headphone jack and 3 Thunderbolt ports.
An SD card slot, I was super shocked they brought that back. The HDMI port is at least sometimes useful for me. And, like, sure, on the one hand, I've heard this argument a bunch that, they're like, their favorite pro market, photographers and video people, they use SD cards all the time. And it's like, yeah, maybe that's their favorite for marketing, but they've also said their biggest pro market is developers. And developers, unless you're Colby building a whistle switch on your Raspberry Pi, you don't need an SD card slot. Certainly not every day.
I did use a lot of SD card adapters to get my stupid Raspberry Pi running. But
yeah, it's an interesting choice. I mean, I think the upside for Apple is after years and years of many card formats, we've kind of settled on SD as like the standard. So I don't think they have to worry about having a bunch of different formats. And I guess, I mean, I'm happy. I use SD cards all the time. So if they can fit it in, more power to them.
Maybe we should use
the old
SD
laptops
cards
support multiple different cards.
Laptops never did, but dongles did and desktops did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking about back in the day when it was like, what was Sony had their proprietary
compact
one,
flash,
compact flash, and then there was all the different sizes of SD cards with the micro and then the mini, which I know some people still use, but so be it.
Yeah, but usually when you get one of the weird sizes, it also comes with some wacky adapter where it snaps into a thing that is shaped like the normal sized SD card.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I think we should start using SD cards for more things, like floppy disks.
It's amazing. The other day I was looking at the sizes of SD cards because I had to buy them, and they're like, you can, for a not insane amount of price, get like a 256 gigabyte SD card. And I'm like, just use that instead of an external hard drive. I mean, it's crazy the sizes these have come to. So I think you can I could literally double the storage in my MacBook with an SD card right now for a not crazy price.
Just think about it, Sean. You could have hundreds of these things and get one of those like those CD flip books, but like tinier.
Yeah, just like a Game Boy.
A pocket.
I'll put one episode on each SD card. I found the other day, I was digging through some boxes, and I found this is true, actually it might be on my desk somewhere, 128 megabyte SD card.
Nice.
Wow.
From way back. And that was that was big at the time. Other things that are happening on these, like I said, 16 and 14 inch versions. They also have Fancy Dan displays, not Fancy Dan Miller, just regular Fancy Dan. We are looking at where are the numbers in here? I was just looking at them and then they scrolled away.
You got how many nits you got?
We got a Liquid Retina XDR display, 1600 nits of peak brightness, and mini LEDs, which is the technology we've only seen on the iPads before, that are now available on this device. It also includes Apple's ProMotion technology at 120 hertz for faster and adjustable refresh rates. So there's that. So it now stretches edge to edge, but the downside is, boys, we got a notch.
I'm not that fussed about the notch.
I'm slightly fussed about the notch.
Okay.
Colby, you're muted. Colby, do you have thoughts on the notch?
I was saying I was agreeing with Dan. I think it's fine. Nothing's ever there. Nothing's there on my computer right now.
I agree, but I'm also because they're Apple, right? So either give me the notch and include Face ID, or just get around to developing that under glass camera technology all of the Android phones have. If it's just going to be I get on my phone why it can't be under the lens because you do Face ID and all these lasers and other stuff, but then just put Face ID on the computer. Like, you already have a notch. I guess the display is probably too thin to get that technology in there. I'm not sure, but at that point, it's a webcam. It doesn't have to be of so high quality you can't put it behind the glass and then just do an edge-to-edge display. I don't know. It just felt like a weird compromise to me. I don't hate it, and I appreciate that they brought the menu bar up and integrated so the notch just goes through it, but I don't know. It feels like a weird compromise to me.
Yeah. I forgot about Face ID.
I do wish it had Face ID. Have you heard the reason why people speculate it doesn't have Face ID?
I have not. I would love to hear
We
it.
talked about this.
No.
That on your iPad and on your phone, it's really obvious when it should look for your face because you typically adjust it a little bit. You're like, oh, yeah, okay, Face ID. And you're like, let me look right in the lens. But if you're doing something on your computer and, logging in is one thing, right? If you're logging in, then sure, it's easy to tell if you're paying attention to it. But if it's asking you like, hey, put your password in, let me use your credit card info, you're always looking at the screen of your laptop kind of head on. And so it's hard for it to tell if you are now like acknowledging this and saying like, okay, yeah, yes, Face ID me. Let's do this. And then you could say, well, what if there was a button that you had to press? It's like, well, why isn't it just Touch ID then? If you have to press a button to activate Face ID.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, it does feel really weird.
Yeah.
And the screen, even with the notch, is still bigger than the old computers.
Yeah, and it's one of those wacky things where I know this is just like a math and marketing thing, but the 14-inch MacBook has a 14.2-inch screen, which I'm like, so the screen's bigger than the computer. That's weird. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the 13s were like 13.6 inches or something, right?
I don't know what the old 13s are, to be honest with you. Which they are continuing to sell the 13 Pro with the just the M1 chip. Now, you can get the Max or the Pro chip on both size computers. The one other thing I will mention is they also upgraded the camera and speakers in the thing. Overall, the 14-inch will cost you $19.99 at the base, the 16-inch $24.99 at the base, and the most expensive configuration of the 16-inch with the Max processor all beefed out is over $6,000.
Nice.
And I believe the 16-inch definitely got thicker generation, like year over year. But do you know if the 14-inch got thicker than the last year's 13?
I'd have to look because you're comparing it to a 13-inch, but you can do an Apple side-by-side comparison on the website. So while we're talking, I'll compare them and see what I can find. Because if we do the are they on here? Yes, the MacBook Pro 13-inch, MacBook Pro 14-inch.
Yeah, well,
MacBook
thank
Pro
God they finally
16-inch.
updated the stupid camera. That was getting ridiculous.
I know. It is pretty.
And now they
wacky.
get to do all the iOS style image processing and everything.
They don't put the dimensions on the website?
What?
Oh, size and weight. Here we go. So the height is, according to this, exactly the same between the 13 and 14-inch.
There you go.
It weighs half a pound more, the 14-inch. You add 0.05 inches when you go to the 16-inch. Yep. Now, the 13-inch will still have the M1 chip and the touch bar as well, so staying in its same old design.
The old one.
Yes, the 13-inch.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a weird. It's weird that it's a 1-inch difference between, or less than an inch difference between them.
Yeah, this is weird. There's a 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro, and
Yes.
there's a 13-inch Intel MacBook Pro with touch bar,
Yes.
and then there's a 14-inch M1 MacBook Pro.
Well, but that's the M1 Pro Pro.
The M1 Pro MacBook Pro.
Yes. I'm trying
is
to
weird.
see if I can figure out. I don't think that's labeled right. As I'm looking on the Apple website,
Are you
I'm trying to figure out what the cost difference is between the Max and the Max and the Pro. But this website is saying,
I think it was only like $100 or $200 difference, if I remember correctly. And it was really where they kill you on is the memory. Like if you want a 64 gigabyte M1 Max, that's like $500 extra or something. Plus the Max cost.
According to this, the stock 16-inch Pro M1 Pro versus the 16-inch M1 Max is an $800 difference.
Really? Oh, okay.
But I don't know what it gets into once you configure it, because it's also saying, okay, so here we go. So if I'm looking at the 14-inch, start you off at the M1 Pro with 8 core, but you can get an M1 Pro with 10 core, an M1 Pro with...
Right.
So you can keep adding more cores, and then you can get to the Max. So if you want to go from the M1 Pro on the... This is ridiculous. The M1 Pro on the 14-inch base, it costs you all the way up to $700 for the maxed out M1 Max. Why would you offer so many options?
That was when I opened this up, I was shocked to see 5 CPU options.
Like, is someone going to really be like, do I need 14 cores of GPU or 16 cores? Like, that's so silly.
It is.
Yeah.
But it must be an easy manufacturing thing for them just to like take out and plug in more cores. Like, it costs them $10 more in silicon to add it, and they can charge an extra $100 or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So, any final thoughts?
And 2 different power adapters. If you take your 14-inch and you add a Max, you're locked into the 96-watt power adapter.
That's right. And
but if not, you could just choose you could just choose to pay extra for a power adapter you don't need, which is weird. Why don't they just include the correct one?
This is taking me back to my old Dell computer days when you could customize literally everything about your computer.
Oh, interesting. That. Even if you do an M1 Pro, the highest end M1 Pro also locks you into the bigger power adapter. In fact, it's only the base model that lets you get the small power adapter.
Wacky.
That's so weird.
I'm going to stick with my Air. Thank you.
Are we getting into what orders people placed?
Yeah, I would love to know. What do you guys? I mean, I just bought one like 6 months ago, like a fool. So I'm good. But I would love to know what you guys think of these. I mean, are we stretching into overkill land or?
No.
Okay.
No, not for compiling the codes. I didn't go. So I kind of went middle of the road. I got the cheapest M1 Max you can get. Yeah, that's what I got.
Did you get a 14-inch then?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I didn't order anything.
I'm pretty excited. I'm shocked, actually, when I was trying to order it this afternoon, this is the only time in recent memory that the Apple Store had problems. It was like, couldn't add it to the cart, then I added it to the cart, and I couldn't check out, and it kept saying my shipping address was invalid. It took me a while to order, and I'm shocked to see tonight that it still says if I bought one now, it would deliver November 5th through 10th. I'm pretty sure that's the delivery estimate I got. So November 3rd through 5th, so they only slipped 5 days so far. But I thought going into this event, the thing I would buy would be a redesigned MacBook Air. I was hoping they'll just like take last year's guts and put it in a thinner case, and new AirPods. But the new AirPods, if you have AirPods Pro and you don't hate them, which I think I would prefer, if I didn't have the AirPods Pro, I would prefer these because I don't really like the earplugs. But since I already have them, I'm not going to get these AirPods. So I thought I was going to get AirPods and a thinner MacBook. Instead, I spent way more money on a MacBook Pro.
Damn it.
So
they got him.
I mean, I think if you get the base MacBook Pro, one of the lower levels, I think the things you're paying for over the Air, like the no touch bar and the ports and some of these other things, I think it's worth the couple $100 extra bucks. And you're getting the M1 Pro over the regular M1. So I don't think I get the Max is not for guys like us, but I think the Pro does offer. It'll be interesting to see if they backtrack that into the next version of the Air. I mean, the Air obviously is never going to have as many ports. That's kind of the point. So, I'm curious to see. What about you, Colby?
I haven't ordered anything yet. I don't know. Do I need to get a new computer? No. Do I want to get a new computer? Yes. Do I need to get a new Apple Watch? Actually, yes. That's probably the thing that the thing that I'm going to order first is an Apple Watch. Do I need to upgrade my iPhone? No, but will I do it? Also, probably yes.
Before long, you'll have paid off your old.
Right. It's I only have like 8 more months to go before it's paid off. Gotta renew. Keep myself in debt to Apple. I do kind of want an M1 Mac. Here's my dilemma. Right now I have a 16-inch. I don't know if I need a 16-inch. Do I need a 16-inch?
Not with computers like these. I think some people get the 16-inch because they like the bigger screen.
Yeah.
Especially people who don't have a monitor and they're laptop lifers.
Right.
But if you're getting a 16-inch because you just want your code to compile as fast as possible, I guess we'll wait and see, but they didn't say that there's any difference between the 14 and 16-inch in terms of performance.
Yeah.
No. I have a 16-inch Intel as my work Mac, and then I have the Air as my personal Mac. I think after using my MacBook Air, I think the 16 is too big. I think it's too big to carry. I think it's more screen than I need to look at. And if I need a big screen, I'll just connect it to an external monitor. So to me, I think it's worth the size trade-off.
Most of the time I'm working, I'm on my desk anyways.
Yeah. The only thing is, I will remind you, though, they haven't talked about the software update. M1 Max will only connect to one external monitor. I don't know if that's true about the Pro and the Max chips, but the current M1, you can only have one external monitor because of the software. Maybe Monterey will fix that.
I only own one external monitor, so...
Oh, boy. Buddy, you got to get to the future, man. You got to double your productivity.
I have a long list of devices that I've been saying, like, I'm gonna just upgrade this when it breaks. One of those things is my monitor. Another is my TV. Another is my Apple Watch. None of them have broken in way longer than I expected.
This is the problem when you buy nice things, is they last for a while. You need to buy crappier things.
This is not what I wanted.
Go buy an HP laptop. You'll get a new one every 2 years.
That's buy shittier stuff.
Yep. That's right. We live in a disposable economy, my friend.
Right. The real America.
No, this is exciting. By the way, that's the other thing they announced is Monterey is coming next week, I believe.
Oh, I totally missed that.
It wasn't part. It was like a thing they slipped in later, but
cool.
That is once available. So there you go. That's the Apple announcement, guys. Pretty quick and easy.
Did we miss something, Sean?
What did we miss?
The most important announcement you cited in the text channel.
Oh my God! Who could forget? They snuck it into the store when they thought we weren't looking. I'm shocked it doesn't have an Apple logo on it. The official Apple polishing cloth. Now, I'm told this is the same one that's come with the Pro XDR display that actually shipped with it. They've just now made it available for separate purchase. $19. Guys, this is a soft, non-abrasive material. It says it cleans any Apple display, including nano-texture glass, safety, and effectively. And their website lists all the devices it's compatible with, which is all of them.
It does have an Apple logo on it, Sean.
Does it? Oh, yeah, on the corner. Jesus Christ. God, that's so sexy. They don't say the dimensions of it on here, which is interesting. So it could be like 8 feet wide. I have no idea.
Okay, and
it could be a blanket.
It's so funny. It's compatible with everything. It's compatible with the first ever iPad mini all the way up to the Pro Display XDR.
Yeah, but, they don't say it's compatible with anything below the iPhone SE first generation. So if you have your iPhone 4S, this will not work on it.
I think that's because that's a vintage product or whatever.
Oh, they've officially...
Yeah.
But by the way, it will work on the iPod Shuffle.
right?
So
They still sell that. Do they still sell that?
no, they don't. I don't think they still. I don't think they do. They sell any iPods?
Isn't there still an iPod Touch?
I thought they sold an iPod Touch.
I don't know where
How did I even find it?
Yeah, I'm sure that's buried on the store somewhere. Oh, the Apple Store is still down.
Oh, it's not for me.
It's up for me too.
For me.
Apple TV
iPod Touch.
accessories. How did you find it?
They have a website.
How do I navigate to it?
It says the new iPod Touch. Look at this thing. When was the last time this thing was updated? It has the A10 chip in it. A 4-inch Retina display with a home button? There's no way you can still buy this thing. This has to be an old page. I truly do not believe it.
I can't find it in the navigation.
I can't find the navigation, but
I googled it.
You can buy it.
Oh my god, you can buy a space gray 32 gigabyte iPod Touch for $200. That's crazy. And it looks so bad. The operating system on the picture on the website is like 3 iOSs ago.
They updated this recently enough to put an Apple TV Plus plug on the bottom of the page. Get 3 months of Apple TV Plus free when you buy an iPod Touch.
It says on here, iOS 14 is the world's most advanced mobile operating system.
Oh,
Not anymore. This is amazing. I would have bet cash this thing didn't exist anymore. This is wild.
Wow.
I can't believe it.
It's amazing.
I could get one tomorrow by 10 a.m. I am curious how to get to it from the website. I'm going to keep playing around with this. It's got to be possible, right?
I would think. But they don't still have the
Yeah, it's not on the top.
Any
They
other
reorganized
iPods.
the top. Now AirPods is its own category. Do you notice that?
they are just wacky. Anyway, the old iPod Nanos, when were those discontinued? They were discontinued in 2017.
Was the Nano the good one? Oh, those were the tiny ones.
Yeah. Are you thinking of I still think the best iPod for my money is what was at one point the iPod Video?
Oh.
Where it still had
Right.
the click wheel, but it had that big color screen on it.
Yeah.
That was my first and last iPod.
I love that thing, man. I'd watch TV shows on that thing. That little 2-inch screen.
Amazing.
I think the worst is probably the Nano 6th generation, which was the one that was all screen. Do you remember that one?
Was it just square?
Yeah, it was just here. I'll just throw it up as we're talking about it. But this is it was just literally just a big screen.
Oh, that's so weird. There's nothing to hold on to.
Well, it's an odd design.
So,
But anyway,
wow.
look, see, they have all the different models here of the different Nanos. Good times.
I can't find how to get to the iPod. I give up. Ooh, maybe if I go to the sites map.
I cannot believe. I think one of us has to take the iPod Touch challenge. Who here's going to buy an iPod Touch?
Done. I'll do that
Wow.
instead of...
If you go to the site map, the iPod Touch is its own top-level item, on par with AirPods, Apple Watch, Mac, but it's just not on the top bar.
Well, I also find it funny that they now have a HomePod Mini, but not a regular HomePod.
Yeah.
Because the category is HomePod, but that doesn't exist anymore.
Man, if I lived in a bigger place, I would buy a HomePod. Apple just needs to wait until all these millennials grow up and get houses.
So what, do you need a HomePod Mini?
I need a HomePod Mini Max.
You need a Mini Max Nano? And eventually we'll find the right size?
It's like math. They cancel each other out. And it just becomes a HomePod again.
Yes, exactly. You just end up with the original HomePod. guys, what a great hour we've had. What a great episode. Glad we could break down the news for all of you out there. But we got to send it home here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. No time for picks. We'll do it again next week. I will very quickly tease. I mentioned up at the top, we just wrapped up our Fast Saga review over at Up for Debate. And, guys, we've got a great topic next week. We're talking Halloween costumes, but specifically the worst Halloween costumes, including those topical costumes from several years ago that now seem really out of place. It's going to be fun and funny. So you're not going to want to, remember when we all dressed as Harambe or whatever the meme of the day was back in 2012. We're going to be talking about it. So it's going to be a fun episode. Up for Debate.tv or search Up for Debate wherever you get podcasts. This is Don't Panic. You can visit us at don'tpanic.io. Check out that website there. All the links and the audio and the video are there. Of course, subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And you can email us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter. Follow us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter. Guys, that's going to do it here. On behalf of Dan and Colby, I'm Sean. We appreciate it, as always, for you being here. We're going to be back next time with more tech news and good times on another episode of Don't Panic. We'll see you then.